A 10-year-old boy stood up in the middle of a murder trial, and what he said next stopped the courtroom cold. Everyone thought the case was closed. The evidence was overwhelming. The man on trial was all but convicted. But then a child, a voice no one expected, revealed a secret that would unravel everything. What did he see? Why had he stayed silent for so long? And more importantly, who didn't want the truth to come out? Listen to today's spine-chilling true story. Please also share where you're listening from. The courtroom in Willow Creek, Ohio was hushed until a high, clear voice rang out. "Stop the trial. I have something to say." Every head turned as a 10-year-old boy with messy blonde hair and defiant blue eyes stood in the aisle. The judge, Elaine Bennett, froze mid-sentence. Her gavel hovered in the air. Even the lawyers, Prosecutor Thomas Granger and defense attorney Amanda Reyes, looked stunned. "Bailiff," Judge Bennett barked, "remove that child now." But the boy didn't flinch. "You can't throw me out. I know something that changes everything." The room erupted in whispers and gasps. The judge slammed her gavel, but her gaze never left the boy. "What do you know, son?" she asked, her voice now cautious. "This is a murder trial. You're not supposed to be here." "I know who really did it," he said, pointing a trembling finger at the wrong man on trial, Daniel Marks. And just like that, everything changed. Caleb Foster was just an ordinary kid. He played baseball with his friends and lived for Friday night pizza with his mom, Rachel. But he had a gift, or a curse. He noticed things others didn't. Months earlier, while biking through Maplewood Park, Caleb saw a man and a woman arguing near the lake. The man dragged the woman to a dark blue sedan. She resisted, and though Caleb couldn't hear their words, something about the scene chilled him. He told his mom. She brushed it off, probably just a couple fighting. But then he saw the man's face on the news. Daniel Marks accused of killing Emily Shaw, his girlfriend. Witnesses placed them arguing the night of her disappearance. His fingerprints were found on her things. The town believed he was guilty. But deep down, Caleb knew something didn't add up. The woman he saw in the park that day, the one being dragged to the car, wasn't Emily. Emily had dark, wavy hair. But the woman in the park had blonde hair. It was a detail burned into Caleb's memory, one he couldn't ignore no matter how much he tried. If the woman wasn't Emily, then who was she? And more importantly, what really happened that day? That single detail shattered the version of events the town had accepted. And it changed everything. Guilt haunted Caleb. He began having nightmares, Emily's pale face asking, "Why won't you speak?" Then fate stepped in. His mom was summoned for jury duty in the Marks trial. Caleb begged to come along. "I'll stay quiet, I promise." She reluctantly agreed. At the courthouse, she gave him a granola bar and told him to sit still on the bench. But as soon as she was gone, Caleb slipped into the courtroom and watched the trial unfold. When Daniel Marks took the stand, Caleb leaned forward instinctively. The moment the man began to speak, Caleb's breath caught in his throat. It was him. The man from the park. The same angular jawline, the same nervous eyes constantly scanning the surroundings. Only now, those eyes looked tired, haunted. But something didn't sit right. Daniel didn't look like a monster. He looked broken, hollowed out. Like someone who had lost everything and stopped fighting long ago. A wave of conflicted emotion washed over Caleb, recognition, doubt, and a rising sense of urgency. He couldn't stay silent anymore. Caleb stood up, his chair scraping loudly against the floor, and the entire courtroom froze. In her chambers, Judge Bennett demanded answers. Caleb, his voice shaking, told her everything. The park, the blonde woman, the fight, the car. "You're saying you saw Daniel Marks with another woman that day?" she asked. "Yes, ma'am. I didn't know who he was then, but I do now." She eyed him closely. "And you're certain?" Caleb nodded. The judge called both attorneys into her office. Defense attorney Amanda Reyes was intrigued. The prosecutor scoffed, "It's just a kid's story." But Amanda wasn't so sure. Caleb's details were vivid, especially the part about the car. A dark blue sedan with a dent in the rear bumper. Caleb returned to the park. Near the path where he'd once hidden behind a tree, he spotted something metallic sticking out of the dirt. A sunflower keychain. Worn, scratched, but familiar. At home, he compared it to photos of Emily Shaw from news reports. There it was, dangling from her purse strap in a photo, identical. She had been there, and Daniel couldn't have killed her if she was with someone else that day. That night, Caleb heard footsteps outside. A shadow moved past his window. Then came an email. "Stay out of this. You don't know what you're getting into." Attached was a photo of Caleb taken from outside his bedroom window. Terrified, he woke his mom. They called Detective Maya Brooks, the officer now assigned to Caleb's protection. someone wanted him silenced. Caleb dug into old reports about Emily. In a comment on a photo, someone mentioned her ex, Jason Rudd. Caleb found his social media. In his profile photo, Jason leaning against a dark blue sedan with a dented bumper. Jason was the man in the park. More troubling, his old posts were laced with jealousy and threats. One read, "She thinks she can leave me? She's wrong." Caleb saved the post. He had his suspect. Jason's car appeared across the street from Caleb's house. The boy panicked. His mom called the police, but Jason vanished before they arrived. That night, another email came. "You made a mistake. Back off." Attached, a photo of Caleb's mom on the porch, completely unaware someone was watching her. Determined, Caleb left the house the next day and followed the sedan to a small diner. Inside, Jason Rudd sat alone. In his hand, a sunflower keychain, identical to the one Caleb found. Caleb secretly took a photo and sent it to Detective Brooks with the message, "It's him. He has her keychain. I'm at Oak Ridge Cafe." Jason suddenly got up and left. Caleb followed. Jason drove to Old Briar Mill, an abandoned warehouse. Caleb kept a careful distance, his heart pounding with every turn Jason's car made. Caleb crouched behind a line of shrubs, gripping his phone tightly as he called Detective Brooks, trying to keep his voice steady. "I followed him. He's here, at the old warehouse off Route 9. Stay out of sight," she ordered. "We're on our way." Minutes felt like hours. Caleb remained hidden, eyes locked on the rusted entrance as Jason slipped inside. Then, the distant wail of sirens cut through the silence. Police cruisers rolled up, lights flashing red and blue against the steel walls. Jason emerged moments later, hands raised, eyes wide with shock. He was arrested on the spot. But the real shock came when the officers searched the building. Inside one of the back rooms, buried beneath a tarp and dust, was a weathered wooden box. Inside it, Emily's missing belongings, her locket, a journal, her favorite scarf. And something else. Something the officers didn't expect. That night, Caleb received a final email. "You think you've won, but you don't know the whole story. Stop digging, or else." Attached, a new photo of his mother taken earlier that day. But Jason was in custody. So who sent it? Emily's best friend Lena Carver had vanished shortly after her death. Caleb found old photos of her. She was blonde. She matched the woman in the park. Detective Brooks confirmed Lena hadn't been heard from in months. Caleb went back to the park and found a bracelet with a sunflower charm, half buried in the dirt. Then a man in a hoodie stepped out of the trees. "You should have stayed out of this," he growled. The man lunged. Caleb bolted, heart racing, lungs burning, sprinting toward a group of joggers. He screamed. The man fled. The joggers called the police. Caleb was safe. For now. The police later found Lena Carver alive, hiding in a remote cabin. She confessed Jason Rudd had killed Emily and threatened her into silence. His accomplice, a man named Neil Travis, was the one stalking Caleb. Together with Caleb's testimony, the photos, the keychain, and Lena's statement, prosecutors built an airtight case. The courtroom was silent as the jury foreman stood, a single sheet of paper trembling in his hand. "We, the jury, find the defendant Jason Rudd guilty on all counts." A murmur rippled through the room. Neil Travis, guilty? Caleb exhaled, only then realizing he'd been holding his breath. Across the aisle, Daniel Mark sat in stunned silence. For the first time in months, maybe years, his eyes filled with something other than despair, hope. The judge turned to him. "You are hereby cleared of all charges," she declared. Tears slipped down Daniel's face as he buried it in his hands. The man once branded a killer was now free because a 10-year-old boy dared to speak up. Caleb watched, the weight of everything he'd done finally sinking in. Justice had been served, and the truth had won. After the trial, Detective Brooks approached Caleb. "You saved lives," she said. "You reminded us that even the smallest voice can uncover the biggest truth." As Caleb stepped into the sunshine, he held the sunflower keychain in his palm, a reminder of the courage it took to stand up, even when everyone told him to sit down. What about you? If you were in Caleb's shoes, would you have spoken up, even if it meant putting yourself in danger to protect a stranger? Please share your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Also, any feedbacks are welcome too. Thank you for listening to Storyline Narratives.